Hi, I'm Jeff Ajik of Continuous Improvement Central and Action Continuous Improvement, and got an interesting video here for you today. Many years ago, I was working pretty regularly with a professional friend of mine named Tim McMahon, and he does the A Lean Journey blog, and he's expanded in what he does. So over the years, here's his little logo here. Over the years we worked together, we did quite a few webinars together, and I did a featured Lean Thinkers thing on him. So to give you a little background, so this is Tim, and this is probably from 2010. I did a little article where I had some questions for him, and I think I did the same thing with him back then. And we did a bunch of videos together, and as you can see, the quality of videos has changed dramatically. So this is from 12 years ago, just a standard PowerPoint presentation. You can see real basic, the aspect was off, the quality was really low, the sound recording, if I was to play it, it was way off. That just tells you how far back we go. And what he does now, when we first started out, we were both independent doing our own thing. I started doing a couple little lean tips of the day and stuff, and I never really took off with that. But Tim, on his own, was doing the same thing. So we both had the same ideas. For me, it fizzled out and I went in a different direction. But for him, he has been doing this for years now. So if you look at it, lean tip 3515. He does this stuff almost every day. It's very rare that he does not post a little tip like this. So if you have an opportunity to go to Facebook and follow A Lean Journey, he's one of the other lean thinkers that I really have a lot of respect for, that has a very similar view of continuous improvement in general to what I do. So if you want a good lean person to follow, me, of course. So if you have a second person you want to follow, I'd go with Tim, and you'll be very happy you get it. And it's just a different style in terms of how he delivers content than what I do. But it's really great because you can get a little dose every single day. He also does these roundups, and he'll go and look around and scour the lean blogosphere and find all the different articles that are worth your time. If you're going to follow one person, you follow him. Well, second person, of course, like I said. But he's a great one to be able to keep tuned into what's going on currently in lean. What he did is he asked me, this is like a rehash of the old thing about different questions. So he contacted me and said, here, I got about 5 questions for you. Let me just send them to me. So I decided I would go ahead and do it as a video and let him post a video on his blog. So he does a leanjourney.com, I think, is the blog also. But I would go to the Facebook page first and follow him there because it's a lot more regular. And then you can also link back to his blog if you want to. So that's how I would approach it. So anyway, for getting into the questions, his first question was, who am I? What organizations are you with? And what is your current lean-oriented activity? So since you're maybe reading this or watching this on Tim's blog, I'm Jeff Hajek. Right around 2008 or 2009, I started writing a book, and it was originally the first book I started to write was a lean encyclopedia. And I started getting all these terms that got to be like 700 pages long, and I realized there's never something I could publish. So then I went and published a different book called What Do You Mean I Gotta Be Lean? It's like a primer, basic lean information. And that kind of got me started out. Then I started doing a couple little engagements where I do some PowerPoint presentations, and then I started selling those PowerPoint presentations online. It turned into an online presence, and now keeps evolving every time new technology comes out. You can do something more. So now I have an online academy called Continuous Improvement Central, and it's academy.valaction.com, and I'll put the links down below and everything. But the gist of it is I put all this content I have, and there's a lot of forms and tools you can download, and it's an online repository for lean information, and it's designed with this learn, teach, do, build. Learn on your own, teach your teams, do projects, and then build a system. So you can go incrementally up depending on what you want to do. It's all the same. It's kind of like Lego pieces you put together to build the systems that you want. So that's what I'm doing now. And next question is, how, when, and why did you get introduced to lean, and what fueled and fuels the passion? So I was in the Army for about 10 years, and when I got out, I had a degree in manufacturing engineering. Degree in mechanical engineering, but I've been away from it too long to get into the numbers on that. So I ended up going into a manufacturing engineering job, and almost immediately I got put into a Kaizen event, and it would just really cater to my strength. It really required a lot of my problem solving skills and leadership skills when I was on this team. And I just really got into it. So I found that the Kaizen activity that I did, the company I moved in, that I started with, was really deeply into lean. And this is, I guess late 90s at the time. And, Shingijutsu was coming in there and helping them. So I had a lot of very immersive experience with lean that kind of hailed back to the whole lineage of Taiichi Ono, who's like the father of modern lean. So I had a really good foundation in lean right away in my professional career after the army. So it got me hooked on it. And since then, I've been in a lot of lean jobs. And then I started my company around 2008 or 2009. So that's what got me into it. It's hard for me to get away from it. So every time I've thought about different jobs or what I want to do going forward, I just keep coming back to this because I just have so much fun with it. And it's something different every day. You can spend part of your time doing research, part of your time experimenting, and part of your time being productive and working. It's just a great, it just really suits my personal style. So in your opinion, what is the most powerful aspect of lean? Powerful really relates in a lot of ways to what Tim's tagline here is, the true north. He talks about true north a lot. And one of the biggest things you get from lean and continuous improvement in general is if you use a lot of the alignment tools. And by that, policy deployment, daily management, there's the focus on processes really puts people in the same direction because they're doing the work the same way. Leader standard work, these all focus on getting people all going towards a common goal. And it is unbelievable what an organization can accomplish if you have everybody pointed in the same direction. Most organizations have a lot of different ideas of what's right and what's wrong. And it's not crazy different. It's just if each person is 10% off, you're not going anywhere near the same direction and you're losing all of that potential value or the potential excellence that you could be creating. So I think the most powerful thing about lean is this alignment that it creates. And of course, it gives you the tools to do something with that alignment. Okay, next one. In your opinion, what is the most misunderstood or unrecognized aspect of lean? So it's interesting on this one because a couple years back, I did a guest post and then, wrong one here. I did a guest post and then have it on my website also, but it's the 11 common misconceptions about lean. And you go through and I have just, these are just basic things that people have told me over the years, what they thought lean was and what they really thought was the impact of it. So the two that I go along with Tim here on is the most misunderstood aspects are both related to people. And it's this one here, lean is about squeezing more out of people and lean means a reduction in jobs. So the idea that people have about when you talk about making things better, improvement, and you're going to be more productive, people equate more productive with working harder because that's what it's been a lot in the past. And I say that things have been changing a little bit over the years if you've been in a lean organization, but if you're not, when you hear more productive, the warning flags start waving and the bells go off and you start thinking, oh, productive means I have to work harder. And if you're doing lean right and continuous improvement, you're not making people work harder. You're making them work at a very consistent and reasonable pace that's agreed upon by all the processes and all the standard work and all the things you do. And then reduction in jobs is the other one people hear about it. When they hear cost reduction, they immediately think headcount reduction. And I always make this joke that you can do that one time. And then after that, nobody's going to buy in. So if you want to reduce headcount with lean, go for it, but you're never going to be successful at it after you do that. So it's really hard to get people to buy into a system that costs them their jobs. So when you go back to, Tim's question, the most misunderstood or unrecognized aspect, it's that idea that lean means reduction in jobs or means you're working harder. So the idea that it's going to have a personal impact on your life like that. And then the last question he had was, in your opinion, what is the biggest opportunity for lean in today's world? How can that be accomplished? I'm going to go with the canned answer for here. It's, as I'm recording, this is early 2024 and AI is all the rage. And I recently saw an article about medical diagnoses, and it's just a cursory glance at a summary of an article, but there was a study that they did, and I don't even know who they is, so I'm really hate when people do this. I'm going to do it anyway, citing an unnamed source with unspecific data. But the gist of the article was that it compared doctors, AI, and doctors using AI to see what the best diagnoses were based on the symptoms that were presented. if I was to think about it, I would say it probably would be like doctors would be at the bottom, or doctors, and then AI maybe a little bit better, and then doctors with AI would be at the top. And it was actually not. In the article, it said that the doctors were at the bottom, doctors with AI were in the middle, and then AI alone was the most accurate in the diagnoses. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know how they tested it or how they confirmed it, or what the actual takeaway. It's just what I saw in the article, and it just stuck with me because it was not what I expected. So in an industry with very highly trained individuals, they are being outclassed by AI. And again, I don't want to like ruffle any feathers here by citing this article. I don't mind ruffling feathers if the facts and data support it, but because, like I said, I'm winging it here with this article I read a little while ago. The point is that if it can help an industry with really highly trained individuals, how much better can it be in a situation like continuous improvement? Now, the problem is going to be that every situation is different. When you have an individual comes in with a disease, it's going to be fairly consistent in the symptoms and however the AI figures it out. But if you're talking about improving a process, it might be harder to put in the information to get the right response. But I think that's really going to happen. I think over time, and even for myself, for what I'm doing here, I am starting to use AI more and more, and I'm using it for some image generation. And the images, they're not perfect yet because they haven't quite figured out how to do letters and wording. And sometimes it's hard to get iterations done. So you ask it to do one thing and it gets close, and you ask it to make a change on one specific thing, it'll change a whole bunch of things. So it's not quite there. But over the time now that I've been doing this, I've got a handful of images that I've been able to use and put these images that I created with the AI engines and be able to use those in some of my work. And I've also been able to use it to help create outlines. And I generally make my own outlines off of that, but it gives me a lot of ideas. So the AI, as I see it right now, it's not quite ready for prime time for lean. But if you start refining how you ask the questions and as it evolves, I don't think it's going to be very long before you're going to be able to have an AI engine helping in every Kaizen event where you start asking and brainstorming. You start thinking about how do you want to do something. You put in information on it, or you start asking for pictures on how to make a fixture to do something, and you start getting ideas. And I think as AI gets smarter and has a bigger base that they're working off of, I think that is the biggest opportunity. And I think the way it's going to happen is if people start to use it more and more, the AI engines are going to get smarter and smarter over time. Yeah, hopefully this is kind of works for Tim, and that this is something that he can use and get on his website and post it up. And I'm sure he's going to put some comments on it down below. But yeah, it's really good to hear from Tim again after all these years. And I always say stuff like this, and I don't know if it's actually going to work out, but it'd always be nice to work with Tim again and come up with some other projects to get in. Yeah, that's all I got. Thanks a lot.